Scarpins Avenue.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Sklar Country, the virus edition, aka the Pandy Pods,
aka two fellas, no salt bellows,
aka two dudes, some good attitudes,
aka two bros, a lot of yeses and a little bit of no's.
Okay, aka dumps of hard-roared birds in front of Trump's cardboard curds. Kids. And then advancing some blue waves while dancing on some dumb graves. Thank you, Mr. Huddletron, a.k.a. Mike Huddleston, a.k.a. Huddlestein, a.k.a. Hudaman, a.k.a.
Old Zealand,
a.k.a. the A.K. Man, a.k.a. Man.
Sometimes I feel like now we've become more like we enjoy a.k.a. Huddleston more than we enjoy.
It's okay.
AKA
He deserves it because he puts in the work, and we are putting in the work for you. Guys, we got stories. We're trying to come at you with them. And hey, by the way, follow us on TikTok. We just got our first video
to hit 1 million
views.
And it was one of these. It was a video from this podcast.
About the guy. It's crazy. It's about the guy who shot through his windshield, which is the dumbest thing in the world, to shoot a gun through your own windshield.
So if you're shooting through your front windshield, that means the guy is driving in the same direction as you, in front of you, driving away from you.
Right. And you're shooting at
the back of his car.
Because he cut you, because you slammed on your brakes, he bumped into the back of you, and then as you drove by, he showed you a gun and then drove away.
Now people are commenting on our thing. We've got all kinds of gun nuts coming after us, which I don't think we should be fighting back at them. A little scared, to be honest with you. And maybe this video will be like proof when they come and try to get us. But what I think is interesting is that people are now making up facts. They're saying that the
other guy shot at him. He didn't. Never shot at him. And
flashed a gun.
And completely glossing over the fact that this guy shot through his own
windshield.
Which, by the way, we can have a debate on who should have a gun and what kind of guns should be out there.
By the way, and in this thing, we never said
all guns should be guns.
No one should have a gun. We're just saying
this guy who shoots through his own windshield.
Maybe don't have a gun is this guy.
This guy is the guy you don't want to have a gun.
And also firing at a guy as he's driving away in front of you when the threat is over
and through your own windshield is stupid.
Mistake.
All right.
And we're right and they're wrong.
Let's stay, though, for this first story in the land of food that's bad for you.
Because we touched on that in the last episode.
Food that's bad for you, but food that your kids want, that you once had, like when you were drunk
and you needed to soak up the night.
Right.
Okay. Subway Sandwich Shop had its worst PR moment since Jared revealed what he liked to do in those big pans. Ireland courts ruled that Subway sandwich bread is not legally bread.
That's crazy. That's great. What bread do you want? That's what they ask you. I guess Ireland says you can't even say bread. That.
Ireland Supreme
I want
Court,
bread, period.
Ireland Supreme Court has issued a ruling declaring that for the purposes of tax law, the bread served in Subway's hot sandwiches does not actually meet the legal definition of quote-unquote bread because it's sugar content and it's rather a confectionery or fancy baked good. It's definitely not fancy.
No.
I'd argue it's probably not a baked good.
And by the way, you thought our Supreme Court was about to be a joke.
Look at what these guys are voting on.
Okay.
Look at that. It's insane.
I imagine that the Irish Spring, that the Irish Supreme Court meets in a bar somewhere. Yep. That's what I imagine it does. Yep. They get sloshed, then they open their proceedings at the bar.
Yep.
It's ironic that any of them can practice law, I'm guessing.
Because none of them can actually pass a bar, folks,
without going in. This case was brought to the court by the Subway franchisee Bookfinders Limited.
How is that the name of a
Your
Subway
name is
franchise?
Bookfinders Limited and you don't sell books. How in the world can your Subway, which has bread, have bread?
Right.
Nothing is what it is in this scenario. They claimed that the bread that Subway served qualified as staple food, which in Ireland means that the bread would be exempt from value-added tax, VAT, thereby saving Subway money. See, they got greedy, Jay.
They got greedy.
In a time when they didn't need to. How many small businesses, restaurants, and local pubs are closing right now?
That's my question to you. How many of them are closing right now because they can't have people come eat inside?
Sit down and order.
They can't have people. And fast food places are really the only places that are
can
thriving.
maintain.
They're
Exactly.
maintaining, at the very least, they're maintaining, and some of them are thriving. Why? Because you drive through, you pick up your food, and you leave. I don't know if you've ever been inside of a Subway.
I have. So when we drive up to Lake Tahoe, my family and I, we get gas at a Shell station that's literally right at the corner on the 14 of the Mojave Desert when you kind of make the right turn. Out by the airplane boneyard that we shot that thing for United States of America,
Right.
There's a Shell station there. There's a Subway in there. And there are tables in there. I rarely see people sitting down and just chilling out at a Subway.
So there's a Subway on the way home from where my son used to play baseball, and that was sort of his, let me go to this spot.
His go-to.
Post a practice, post a game.
Yeah.
And there's like a couple scattered tables by the door where the air conditioning blows down too hard on you when you walk into the door. It is not a pleasurable experience. They're like
in
high top
pandemic
tables.
times, it's terrifying.
High top tables. You usually see the kind of people who are the only people who are sitting at those high top tables are people who are applying for jobs at that place.
That's right.
Or they're there to talk to the people who are working behind the thing. No one's in there for the decor. No one's in there for the hangout. Nobody's doing that. You see like someone there opening a month's worth of mail.
Yep.
You see someone in there saying she'll maybe come back. I think she will. It's
someone who just Andy Dufresne his way out of prison.
Yeah, they all look like they just swam through a river full of shit.
To get to
Subway and stink up that place.
Right.
It's not a pleasurable place. It's not where people go to hang out. As a result, in the pandemic, that's good for them. They're making money. But these people got greedy. They wanted to not pay taxes on their thing, and they put it out there, and they put it into the universe.
And then it went all the way up to
the
Supreme Court.
Irish Spring Court.
Irish Spring Court is the cleanest court out there.
Yes.
Speaking of clean, I would say that some New York City subway stations are cleaner than Subway restaurants. I'm just going to say that.
True that. Okay. The ruling, which was handed down on September 29th by the 5-judge.
Still, Subway is the healthiest food you can eat when you're out there as far as fast food goes.
5-judge Irish Spring Court said that the bread sugar content, which is 5 times higher than what was set out in Ireland's value-added tax of 1972, the year we were born,
the Value-Added Tax Act,
is too sugary to meet the legal definition of bread and therefore cannot be called a staple food.
5 times.
5 times. That's basically a Long John donut.
Maybe a cruller.
The argument depends on the acceptance of the prior contention that the Subway heated sandwich contains bread as defined and therefore can be said to be the food for the purposes of the second schedule rather than confectionery. That's the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is it bread? Is it a sandwich? Is it dessert? Since the argument has been rejected, the subsidiary argument must fail, the court distinguished in its official judgment.
Oh, snap.
Whoa, you just got dunked on, brah.
You got legal-eagled.
You got dunked on by a drunk judge.
Drunk
on. So they basically ruled that their bread was too unhealthy to be considered bread.
Bread.
We talking
bread.
We talking about bread. Not muffins.
Not muffins.
Not a bagel.
Not a cookie.
We talking about
bread.
Bread, which is not allowed on any diet. You look down the line, white bread is just gone.
They're like, cut out bread and you'll be so much healthier.
And this doesn't even qualify as the thing you're supposed to cut out from every diet.
Tell me more about the value-added tax of 1972.
This is fascinating. So the sugar allowed in a bread product must be not be more than 2% of the total weight of the flour in the dough. That doesn't sound like a lot. Subway's dough across their bread options, as listed by the nutritional information on the website: white bread, Italian, 9-grain wheat, honey oat, Italian herbs, and
honey
cheese.
Oat is basically a donut.
All contain about 10% sugar content.
Wow.
Quite honestly, I'm shocked that they didn't lie about the amount of sugar that's in their bread.
That's right.
I've had Subway bread before.
It doesn't taste sugary.
My son loves Subway.
My kids love Subway so much.
So my son used to get the same thing every time. Meatball sub, no cheese. So just some meatballs laid into, and I made him get the wheat bread because I thought that was healthier. But here they are telling me that it's got 10% sugar in that too.
Again,
what am I doing?
I've said this on the show. The first time I saw my daughters order at a Subway, it was like I had never lived with them in my entire life.
You looked at me like, who the hell are you people?
Either I went off to prison they went off to prison for several years and now we've all been changed.
Right.
They literally were like, I'll have tuna with spinach and onion. I'm like, who are you?
First of all, who gets tuna at Subway? Second of all, spinach.
Tuna's not bad, but like the onions and the spinach on top of the tuna, I'm like, I don't understand this order in any way, shape, or form.
You've watched enough Westworld to look at your daughter Daisy.
In that moment, I looked at her when Georgia ordered, and I was like, Dolores, That's what I said, because you never know, because she took 5 of the pearls out of the thing and took it out of the park, and there you go.
Subway's bread is, of course, bread, Subway said in a statement given to ABC News.
Oh, my God.
You can just taste the smugness in that statement.
Just dripping from that statement.
Like syrup, like
Or
sugary
sugar bread.
Quote, "We have been baking fresh bread in our stores for more than 3 decades, and our guests return each day for sandwiches made on bread that smells as good as it tastes.
Like cakes.
Like sweet, sugary
Bread cakes.
bread cakes." You got to love that Subway's chain, their only response to the accusation that they're putting too much sugar in their bread, in their sandwiches, is to simply say, Subway's bread is, of course, bread.
Yeah. And that people like it.
Just like Jared's all right. He's a good spokesperson.
Yeah.
Way to back that up with proof. Oh, just because you're a corporation.
Yeah.
And you say
it's in your interest to say that it's just bread, so you just say it, and then it's true with zero proof.
So the argument against somebody saying even though you list it, you put 10% sugar and it doesn't qualify as bread, your argument back to them is it's bread.
It's bread.
That's
well,
it.
Guess what the Irish Spring Supreme Court said?
By the way, that's what arguing has come to this day. Court uses facts to find that bread has too much sugar. 500% too much sugar, to be honest with you.
And the people who make the bread say, no,
it's still bread.
Still bread.
And then that's it. And just because you've been baking this cake bread hybrid in your stores for 3 decades, that doesn't refute the sugar claim.
Just because you've been doing it wrong for 3 decades doesn't make it right.
Neither does the argument, and people keep coming back for it. That's like crack dealers saying, our customers love this stuff.
Yeah.
In response to someone saying, hey, you're selling a dangerous drug out there on the street.
But
they love it.
They love it.
They come back every day for this.
Why are you getting mad at something that people love?
Wait. You're saying this is a dangerous drug, and I'm arguing back to you that people love it. I don't see what the problem is.
Most people like what's bad for them. That's the truth.
That's how the world works. That's how it's always worked.
That's why we have an opioid problem.
That's why we have an obesity problem. That's why it's hard to be on a goddamn diet. The bad food tastes good to you. That's just
food and drug companies understand how to tap into these addictions because they're innate.
And hereditary. And you can't even necessarily. Yes, you can blame them, but as a business, they're trying to do well in their business. That's right. What they're doing. It just so happens that their business is killing people.
So if 10% sugar makes people want to come back,
they're going to live. And if the smell of the bread is what lures people in, put 10% sugar in it.
Just tell people that there's 10% sugar in it.
Even if it ultimately hooks people and brings them in and ultimately kills them, it's going to make you more money. Put 10% sugar in it. And then when someone accuses you of having too much sugar in it, doesn't qualify as bread anymore, your response is, it's bread.
Yeah. Look, and then they got caught, and then they got rewarded.
They were trying to. This is the part of it that's insane.
This is the thing that bothers you.
You were getting away with your 10%. You had it.
Subway.
Subway. You were getting away with 10% sugar in there. Was anyone talking about how Subway bread wasn't bread? Was that the first topic of discussion?
Nope. But then you had to get greedy.
You had to get greedy. You were like, not only do we want to kill people with our fake bread, not only do we want to put too much sugar in this goddamn thing,
we want a tax break.
We want a tax break. Mm-hmm. We don't want to have to pay taxes.
What was the tax break for? If they have bread, it's a tax break.
Well, if it's meals, there was it counts as like a full, not a confectionery meal, but if it's a full,
then
savory meal, then you get a tax break as your representative.
Maybe we need to get our Supreme Court drunk. I love the Irish Supreme Court.
Well, that's actually probably not a great idea for Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah, that's right. If he's on the court, yeah.
Especially with Coney Barrett come to the bench.
Yeah, Kavanaugh gets drunk. He's liable to get a hold of Barrett's sweet-ass Subway bread cakes, and then it's over.
Try to make an 8th kid with her. We don't know whether she wants it or not.
We don't know.
She's not going to give it up.
We don't know because her crazy religious cult that she lived with for years won't tell her or allow her to say what she wants.
It's not her place as a woman to speak, according to her cult.
That's right.
Here's the deal. This is
just say what it is.
Say what it is.
Don't get greedy.
Or don't get greedy.
Don't get greedy.
You had it. You were in
just
the clear.
like you walk in a Subway and they say, look, if you want to watch your weight, you get a 6-inch instead of a foot long. You tried to go for 1.5 feet, Subway.
You went for 1.5 feet.
Can't do 1.5 feet. All we have are foot longs. You tried to extend an extra 6 inches. You can't do that.
Know who you are. That's
know
all
who you
saying.
are. All right, let's take a break. First story is down in the book. When we come back, we have a story about
maybe the oldest gangster out there.
Well, here's the thing. people who are older are now acting younger than they did back when we were young, and it's messing everything up. We'll get to it on the other side of the break. This is Sklar Country, the Virus Edition. Stay with us. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. We just checked the numbers, and there are only 4 more VIP tickets left for the live Dumb People Town on November 7th. You are going to want to get tickets right now. Trust me, this will keep you sane in all the election craziness.
John Hamm is hilarious.
John Hamm, the band
John Hamm
Tennis.
is so good at this show. We've had him on in
Live
the studio.
shows.
We've had him on live shows. He is a Hall of Fame guest on this show. So I'm telling you already right now, without even knowing what the show is,
It's going to be great.
he will destroy it.
So he's amazing. The band Tennis amazing. Eventbrite.com. Look up Live Dumb People Town. Get your tickets now. Also, join our YouTube page. Just
Please.
subscribe to it. Watch the videos. It helps us out a great deal. And it's free. And you just get down a rabbit hole. We'll put old cheap seats on there. Going to put stand-up on there. All sorts of good stuff. So check that out.
All right, let's get into this.
All right. And like we said before the break, I feel like older people are acting younger than they did when we were young. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I don't see that trend changing. I think
Not for the
that's-
foreseeable
well,
future.
I think that unless, it turns all the way around again. It reminds me of our buddy Nick Swartzen's old great bit. He used to do a hilarious bit about people today, or people 50 years from now talking about how they met today and how different it is than old people today talking about how they met 50 years ago.
Today-
Today they're like,
50 years ago,
I met her at the VF Hall and we were
dancing to Ella Fitzgerald.
and then I wrote her some letters, and then we never saw each other. Then 6 weeks later,
I
we
proposed to her, and that's
then that
it.
was
Now,
it.
50 years ago, 50 years from now,
it'll be like, yes, I met your grandmother on Tinder. Swiped right. She was DTF.
That's right.
That night, we got busy to this Drake track. Let me put it on.
Yeah.
No, your grandmother was a hoe. I think
Okay.
that was his
punchline that
hilarious
just
line that destroyed every
so
time
good.
I was good. And I don't think, and this is how I feel. I don't think in the 1950s we were infantilizing old people or trying to make them younger.
No.
Like no one was walking around in the 1950s being like, "Hey man, 50's the new 40.
No.
60's the new 40."
Or 40's the new 35. Those words weren't being spoken in the
You just were like, "Who's that? That's my grandmother. She's 60. She
and
looks
looks 70.
She's crapping into a bag that comes out of her colon, and she's carrying around an oxygen tank. That's what she is.
60's the new 70. Maybe they'd reverse it like that.
I just saw a picture of our dad for recently, and I looked at the date on the back of the thing. It was just him in a sport coat at like a nice dinner, gray herringbone sport coat, nice dinner. And I was like, how old is he right here? In my mind, I looked at the picture. I'm like, he's got to be like 55, 56. He was 47.
He was 2 years younger than us.
A year and a half younger than us. And it was insane to me to see that.
He looked 10 years older than us.
Right. Old people are doing younger stuff today and dumber stuff today.
Yeah.
Remember when there was like,
Respect your elders.
remember when that was a thing?
Yeah.
Respect your elders.
Yeah.
You got to respect your elders.
Old proverb.
How about we, and this story will prove it. How about we amend that, make it a little more sharper, a little tighter. Respect your elders who deserve respect.
Yeah.
Not all the elders.
Some of the elders are just dumb old people who used to be dumb young people and never got smarter.
Right. Or who, despite their dumb, stupid choices in their lives, are still alive.
Trump. Perfect example.
Barely. Well, we got a story today of an older gal who has put the pedal to the metal, literally and figuratively, in her life. Elderly woman
71.
is suspected getaway driver for burglar gang.
What is grandma doing?
Let's FaceTime her and let's see. Oh, it's ringing. It's ringing.
Loud noises and lots of swearing as a car speeds down the freeway.
Hi, kids. Grandma can't talk right now.
Floor it, bitch. I hear the fuzz.
It's FaceTime. I'll do it later with you. Bye.
Okay. Garda,
Which I think is the police force in Ireland.
Is that have arrested a 71-year-old bed and breakfast owner suspected of ferrying a gang of young criminals across the country to carry out an aggravated burglary.
Well, that she should have seen that coming. I mean, isn't that part of the bed and breakfast experience? It's like if you don't have breakfast at home, I'm going to take you out. We'll
go.
rob some people and get you the best breakfast you've ever had.
That is the bed and breakfast and beyond.
She is.
She's bed, breakfast, and beyond.
This woman is hard AF. I'm telling you that right now. I don't. But I was trying to think about this. I don't think I've ever stayed at a bed and breakfast in my life, but you have.
I have. When I chose to tell my wife that I'd plan our first anniversary, we'd go up to wine country and I'd get a bed and breakfast. I was like, don't worry about it. I'll get it.
And your thought was, I'm going to plan such a great trip that it'll be a monument and an
As
honor
a wonderful
to our wedding.
to the first
To
year
show her
of
that you
marriage.
wanna be involved.
And we'll drive up, and we've never been up to
Napa
Napa. It'd be
Valley.
great. I stupidly get a bed and breakfast in Napa, downtown Napa, which is not wonderful at all. It's like we were in like somebody's suburban neighborhood right by a bunch of construction. I found this old house that looked like it was an old, unique house. And then you get in there and it looks like Miss Havisham's house. Dust everywhere. Purple, lots of purple. Lots of purple should be your first indication. Get out.
Get out.
Get out.
If Prince doesn't live here, get the F out.
I go in there. I go into our room. We're in our room. I'm flipping through a book which is there, which is like the top.
And is your book in your room right off
the dining room? And I open up the book, which was top 10 Christian bed and breakfasts.
Okay.
Again, this is 2000. This is early internet when you don't have TripAdvisor, you don't have Yelp. There's nobody's saying anything about these places.
Right.
I'm just looking at a picture on dial-up. You understand?
Yeah, I do.
So I 2001. This is 2002 now,
Yeah.
and I look through there, and this bed and breakfast in Napa
Is ranked seventh.
seventh
Top 10 Christian
bed and breakfast. Now, I didn't want to go to a Christian bed and breakfast at all. I looked at my wife and I said, "Holy shit!" This loud, "Holy shit!" Someone knocked on our door and was like, "We don't curse in here. We're not cursing in here." I was like, not that I was going to curse up a storm, but Jesus, fucking Christ, what are we doing
easy,
here?
Easy. You can't say that.
I was you can't say that there.
Right.
So I got super mad. Then I tell this story?
Sure.
Then I planned a hot air balloon ride for us to go up in, which my wife is extremely afraid of heights. Extremely. And
Great
I'm
call.
kind of too. So why not do a hot air balloon ride? The ride was to go up 1 mile, over 1 mile, down 1 mile. We'd have breakfast and hang out. That's it. That's it.
It's a chance to get out of this bed and breakfast as well.
It's my wife and I and a couple of other random people, a German couple. And we go up in this thing, and it is scary to just go just straight up.
How high
in
is the
sky.
basket on your side? Is it like low?
The hot basket comes up to here, but there's still a moment where you're like, I could fall out. You can't fall out, but I was like, I could fall out of this thing. You feel like you could fall out of the thing. So you're going up, but after a while, you start to get used to it. I look at our pilot because we have a
balloonist.
balloon. Is it a balloonist? It's the balloonist. I look at our pilot, and he's radioing to a car down below.
Who's driving to like catch you guys?
So first of all, the pilot's name is Maverick, which never a good sign.
Yeah, you don't want
You don't want the guy to buzz a tower somewhere.
You
know
don't
what I mean?
want him to be known as the rogue.
Yeah, the guy who didn't go on the path.
the guy who doesn't follow the rules. He's a maverick.
He picks up the walkie-talkie, and I noticed that he's missing 3 fingers on one hand. So he's either incredibly unlucky
Where he makes a lot of
or
bad
like a
decisions.
lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
3 of them to be exact, or one that knocked out 3. I'm like, this guy's our pilot. I look at my wife. I'm like, I cannot believe this is happening. She's like, what did you do? What did you do? So he's radioing down below, and he's like, he says to the guy in the van who's supposed to like pick everybody up once we land, mile up, mile over, mile down, we land and have breakfast. He's like, I got a wind. We're going with it. This is why they call him Maverick. This is it. We take off. We fly. I'm not joking. We're supposed to go 1 mile up, 1 mile over, 1 mile down. We go 14 miles into a whole other area that we are not authorized to land in. He's radioing down in the Alexander Valley. Can you knock on doors and find out if we can get in any one of these?
These are all conversations that were you not in a basket with the man, you should not have heard these conversations.
He's like, no one is answering their door. And then Maverick's like, I see a spot between a hill and a house. I'm going to land it right here. We're like, what?
Can you do that?
He said, we're coming in hot. I'm like, we should not be coming in hot at all. He's like, when the basket lands, everybody jump. I'm like, what's that going to do? So basket lands, we all jump, the basket falls over, we fall on each other, we get out. We walk out, we're on someone's farm, and there are cows there. And we told stories about this on this show. The cows will come and get you.
They're mad at us. They know we eat them.
So a cow went up to the German woman and chased her around a tree. Treed the German woman. We're walking. We have to then walk away from the cows and away from the German woman who's being chased by the cow. We go through.
It's like leave her. We'll
leave
get her
her
at another time.
We don't need her. We go through a barbed wire fence. I have to climb through a barbed wire fence. I climb through the barbed wire fence, and as I'm just about to get my last leg through it, I rip my favorite jeans.
Great.
And I get so mad that I say to my wife, "You go up and complain." Mm-hmm. She goes up and complain and gets me finally for free. This is the only thing that she got me, a free golf shirt, bright orange golf shirt
with a
rainbow balloon on the pocket. And when I got home, I realized that it was a medium and it was a small medium. So I put it on and I'm wearing a super tight rainbow shirt. It looked
like Pride Week.
Yes, it looked like it was Pride Week. Mm-hmm. And I put it on and I was like, son of a bitch. And then we got a knock on the door. They're like, please stop cursing.
Jesus Christ.
That's it. That is my bed and breakfast story.
Well, this woman, back to our criminal, 71 years old, bed and breakfast owner, drove the getaway car.
God damn it.
She's literally the opposite of a baby driver.
Yep.
Female pensioner was arrested this week along with her younger associates as part of investigation into a daylight break-in at a home in Mullinger Co. Westmeath.
What?
Last month, the burglary happened around 2 p.m. on a Saturday, September 19th.
Daytime burglary.
When a number of people broke into the private home in the Ballina area. 2 p.m. on a Saturday during a worldwide pandemic.
Yeah, great time to break into a home.
Yeah, no one's going to be around then. You know that they wanted to do it at 2 a.m.
She's
like, I'm the driver. I'll be asleep for 7 hours by then.
Dinner at 4, asleep at 7.
She's like, let's do it at 2 p.m. right before dinner.
Yeah.
The raiders then searched through the property, stole a number of personal items before taking the keys to the homeowner's car and driving off. How does she fall in with this gang?
How does she not fall and break her hip?
They definitely stayed at her B&B.
Uh-huh.
She took a shine to them. They couldn't pay.
So she offered to help them out.
They remind her of her grandkids.
That's right. Come on, let's go on an adventure.
On Thursday, detectives carried out several searches in the Midland. Like, why are they devoting this much energy to this?
Relax.
It's understood that Gardy also seized items linked to the investigation that will now be examined. So these are items that were found linked to the investigation connected to a 71-year-old woman.
What did they find?
Who was part of a burglary.
I mean, is it the most 71-year-old woman stuff ever?
I don't know. They didn't say what they found, so I'm going to take a guess. Okay. All right. A large pair of women's underwear.
Gardening gloves.
A dirty AARP membership card.
A
bottle of Geritol.
Mm-hmm.
Half-eaten prunes. I don't know.
7 half-eaten.
Maybe that's how they know. And the Irish Independent has learned that one of those was this who was involved is a 71-year-old
woman.
She was the muscle. Detectives suspect the pensioner was involved in driving 2 younger associates to and from the scene last month's burglary. Aggravated burglary.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Because she aggravated an old hip injury.
Probably.
Why is that?
She got a nagging injury that she aggravated.
They are also investigating whether she played a similar role in any previous crimes carried out by the pair.
I mean, she's the least likely person you'd expect. If
great.
You are going to drive away with someone, this is murder,
and
she
it's not
wrote.
like she's going to talk about it, because how is she going to remember it?
She's not.
The 2 men aged 25 and 45 are also from the same
28 and 45.
28 and 45. You don't see a lot of multi-generational
this feels like
gangs
it's the whole
of thugs,
gamut.
Right?
Get a toddler in there.
A source said these 2 lads are more known for drug offenses, but it's suspected that this time they carried out burglaries and robberies. Yeah, to pay for their drug habit.
That's right. One hand washes the other.
The 3 suspects were being held at Mullinger and Tullamore Garda
One
stations.
hand sponge baths the other.
She's the only one, in my opinion, my guess, who honors the lights out mandate in prison, because she's been asleep for 3 hours. Am I the only person, correct me if I'm wrong here, Randy, that's hoping that she's sleeping with both these guys?
I really hope so.
And she's the only one who knows it. How great
grandma
would that
porn.
be?
Here we go.
Look, I don't know. I'm tell you right now, I don't know what our lives are going to look like when we're 70.
21 years from now, who knows?
We definitely know a lot of comedians who are in their 60s
and 70s still doing it.
And
still
it's
doing
inspiring.
It.
It's cool as hell to look at. They're relevant. They keep doing it. I do think the ones we know who are doing it and who are in their 60s, 70s are big stars.
Yeah.
And so they're able to ride the tail of that comet goes a lot farther than someone who hasn't become a big star.
That's right.
And we definitely decided to do a job. Like in writing this story, I'm like, boy, we definitely decided to do a job that suits someone in their 20s and 30s.
Right.
A little bit less so in their 40s.
A little bit less in their 50s.
But look, I'm proud of it.
It keeps us young.
We're going to keep trying. Look, doing this story before we get out of here, The reason why we did it, in my opinion, or as I was going through it, I said, I want to be relevant when I'm 71.
There we
I
go.
want to be in a young man's game.
I do
To
too.
quote a new song off the Amazing Fleet Foxes album, I want to be in a young man's game.
Here we go. All right, guys, that's a show. Enjoy it. As Brody Stevens would say, stay protected, stay connected. Don't get infected. This is not a hoax.
But we got the jokes.
Wear a mask, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow.
La-ti-da, la-ti-da-ti-da-ti-da, la-ti-da-da.